Within the present state of the information economy, the global digital divide is a growing concern. In many deprived and impoverished communities, residents do not have the access or literacy skills required to operate crucial media technologies and are thusly not sufficient enough to meet the online standards of the globalized world. In effect, this gap marginalizes these communities, and they are ultimately left being viewed by much of the world as inferior in regards to technology and consequently at a severe disadvantage. The digital divide can be understood through the differences between these groups, the key distinction being whether a community is made up of haves or have-nots. Haves are described as the people with the necessary knowledge for and access to new media technologies, while have-nots are defined as those lacking these attributes. Specifically, developing areas throughout Africa illustrate this gap and the social and economic issues associated with it. They prove to be clear examples as to why the digital divide is an ongoing threat to globalization.
The mindset is the barbarians are backward and inferior, and for their own benefit we have to uplift them and civilize them and educate them and so on. The psychology behind it is kind of transparent. I mean, when you've got your boot on someone's neck and you're crushing them, you can't say to yourself, I'm a son of a bitch and I'm doing it for my own benefit. So what you have to do is figure out some way of saying I'm doing it for their benefit. And that's a very natural position to take when you're beating somebody with a club.
Britain cut the largest piece of African cake from Cairo to Cape Town, in addition to Nigeria and a few West African regions. It was also the British Empire that in 1894 imposed an arbitrary boundary around the many diverse ethnic groups and kingdoms that would make up Uganda. The southern Bantu-speaking people were given economic, political, and educational advantage. The northern ethnic groups, two in particular, the Acholi and the Langi, were the main recruits for military and police positions. By exploiting linguistic, ethnic, and cultural differences between the peoples of the North and South, Britain's divide and rule policies created a tension between them that helped to maintain British rule.
Africa's developing condition and comprisal of have-nots is understood as being intensified due to the continent's historical context. These communities cannot, in effect, pull themselves up by their own bootstraps if they do not possess the means. Because of this, Western technologies have, in essence, been forced into the lifestyle of these citizens through the use of methods of one-way communication. The modernization paradigm has played a central role in the addressing of limited technology access for many of these countries.
As extenders of Belgian rule, the politicization of these two cultures would profoundly contribute to the genocide of 1994. In Sudan, the British ruled the Arabs in the north and the blacks in the south as separate colonies, only to combine the areas before independence in 1956. The result has been relentless civil war, the Darfur massacres being the latest tragedy. The Portuguese decimated Angola, Mozambique, and Guinea-Bissau well into the 1970s. The Italians took Libya, Eritrea, and Somalia. The Germans added Cameroon and Tanzania and committed the first genocide of the 20th century against the Herero people.
No colonial power is going to succeed unless it's going to play on existing divisions and sharpen them, increase them, exacerbate them. So one of the first questions after the end of colonialism is who belongs and who doesn't? Who was part of the colonial struggle and who betrayed? And this is time to settle scores.
Further embellishment upon the modernization approach to communication development within Africa can be found in the One Laptop Per Child program, which started in 2005. The program entails distribution of energy-efficient laptops that run on crank systems to African schools. According to Paulo Mephalopoulos, for a true successful development to occur, there must be two-way participatory communication. Though these laptops do aid in increasing participation among users, they are still simultaneously being forced on the students. Rayvon Fouché critiques this program in his article From Black Inventors to One Laptop Per Child, Exporting a Racial Politics of Technology, claiming it represents yet another example of the developed West forcing modernization on a developing nation.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
Well, I'm sure it never used to be so hard, this hard. Used to get those kicks for free, but now I'm towing the line. Oh, this ain't the way you be.
My name is Mikhail Durma. I'm working for One Laptop Per Child. We have a new project in here, like wants to prove if the kids can learn how to read by themselves.
Sure it never used to be so hard, this hard. Used to get those kicks for free, but now I'm towing the line. Oh, this ain't the way you be. Stuck between my shadow and me.
However, this does not mean that all new media technologies are proving ineffective towards inciting mass, constructive change. In particular, mobile telephony has contributed greatly to these countries by providing new social and economic opportunities. Though many of these countries' citizens lack the means to access computers, they are able to exploit the uses of mobile technologies due to the fact that they are cheaper, more compact, and don't require as much energy to operate. They have also generated new employment, which has led to helping improve the impaired economic structure. Doctors can now use mobile apps in order to communicate with patients about issues regarding pregnancies or AIDS awareness, and farmers are using phones to receive updates on important data regarding their crops, and mobile money has taken over as the primary source for financial transactions. It is undeniable that mobile telephony has proved to be vital in Africa's strive towards globalization.